Season of Discovery have now been out for about 5 days, and my experience has been pretty. First and foremost, let's talk a little bit about the pros before we go into the cons. Uh, of the pros, I can say that has definitely been server stability. Blizzard has really improved the server stability. I didn't get disconnected once, not once. That was really nice. Um, Mobs are spawning really fast. This can also be a con because sometimes the mobs is a little bit overwhelming, especially if in a cave alone. But at the launch, that wasn't really a problem. I was a night elf, so the spider cave is probably the biggest example of where this can go wrong. But it didn't, because there were so many people. No spiders was ever alive for more than 5 seconds. Like, for real, that was how many players there were. There were like a ton of players. Really fun to see. I also really like the few additional twists they have made. Positive twist. What are positive twists? I remember Wandering Swordsman for a warrior quest, warrior rune. Sorry. I was like, who's this guy? And I go talk to him, and he's like, let's take a duel. And I'm like, sure, dude. And I was destroyed. I think it was level 7 and I was level 6, but he was destroying me. Like, I had no chance. And that really, really made me happy to see that little change, because, it's enough to really, it's almost enough, I would say, to spice up the game. Those small changes for the runes are really cool. At some point in the near future, I'm probably gonna roll a shaman on the horde side, just to check their versions of it all, just to see, kind of compare it to Alliance. Let's talk about the cons now. The cons. The most obvious is what the login queue. Like, we all knew about the login queues, but they're always annoying. I mean, I'm a full-time dad, have 3 kids, wonderful, amazing kids, and my time, I also have a full-time job, so my time is very, very limited. So not being able to log in whenever I want it is really annoying. However, I also noticed that now, compared to the first couple of days, there's basically no queue. And at night, I think the queue for at least an EU on the Lone Wolf, I couldn't pick Living Flame because they closed the faction, which we're gonna talk about just in a second. I couldn't play with my friends, so I picked Lone Wolf and went Alliance, and there was only a little bit of queue, so that's fine. Faction balance. Now that's a pro and a con in itself, because they are really trying to make sure that faction balance is intact, because what a big problem is, people in Classic are min-maxing the shit out of the game, and they're gonna pick the right class, the right race, the right talent spec, the right runes, everything will be min-maxed to teeth, even though it's not necessary. So really, honestly, it's a bit of a shame, but they're trying to really make sure that the faction balance is intact, and that's one of the problems as well, is that you can end up a dead server. Like, from a month now, you can be on a dead server. So let's say you roll the Horde. I would say Horde on, I think, Living Flame with probably the minority, because they closed, they made it so that you couldn't make a new character, and then they opened it, and then when you tried to make a new character, then you couldn't pick Alliance, and I wanted to be Alliance, so I couldn't play that. So that was a bit sad, but at the same time, I do understand where they're coming from, because it's annoying to be the faction of minority. Like, I wish they have implemented this years ago on the Classic server as well, where they had like an auto faction lock, so whenever a class is, or whenever a faction is becoming the majority, or by a significant amount, I don't know how much, like 55% or 60%, the other faction closes, or that faction closes, that could be really cool. So I really kudos to Blizzard for actually trying to take a step in the right direction, even if it's not the best, because it did at the same time, which is the con here, it did exclude me from playing with my friends, because a ton of them went Living Flame, Alliance, and because I weren't able to log in at the launch, I basically didn't have a chance at leveling. I could wait several days, of course, and hopefully I could play with them. But who in the right mind is going to do that? We want to play, and we want to play now. We're not going to wait. So yeah, I went Lone Wolf alone. Funny enough, cool name by the way, but Lone Wolf. I'm a Lone Wolf apparently now. Some quests really did suck, and one quest in particular was like the frog in Teldrassil, where the guy, the satyr in Teldrassil, was like, you turn in a quest and he becomes a frog, and then nobody can turn in their quest, and everybody just had to wait. And it was such a terrible design, because I was left waiting for a long time until I installed an add-on which auto turned it in for me. But to those who don't have that add-on, good luck. I mean, that's a terrible game design in my opinion. Of course, what could they do? Shard, whatever, should do sharding or facing, but that will also ruin a lot of people's immersion, because people would not be able to see the other people not in the same layer. But I really wish they would just like remove that thing so that it didn't turn into a frog. Like, how much of an immersion is that gonna give? In my opinion, it's just a terrible design. There's also in Teldrassil 2 the guy where you have the sprouts, that is sprout spawning, and then he runs to them and he plant them and they spawn. While he runs to them, you can't turn any quests, and he has several quests, so that's really annoying too. I don't know if I can't remember if other factions have this problem, but Teldrassil, annoying place. One of the biggest turn off for me was that this iteration felt a bit too classic vanilla style for me. I know people talk about vanilla, Season of Discovery is vanilla plus, but honestly, I'm telling you, it's not classic plus. It is just a test foundation for Classic Plus. Trust me, I made a video about it. You can check it out on my channel. But really, it's not gonna be Classic Plus. And as such, I just wish they would just making a ton of changes, like making a ton of new quests, even if they didn't make any sense. Because that way you would feel like this game has been changed a lot, and it would give you so much more adrenaline, so much more pumping, so much more adrenaline going. Because the new quests that were implemented, the rune quest, they were funny. There was a breath of fresh air, but there's so few of them. I would have wished they made like 2 or 3 new quests per zone or something like that, maybe more. I know that it takes time to make a quest and resources, etc. But Blizzard is a multi-billion-dollar company. They should be able to do that. At least they should just set aside a big enough budget to just go ham with all crazy ideas and see where it goes. And then people will complain in the forums about, oh, too many new quests, I don't get it, blah blah, and then get it scaled down. And maybe they're like, oh, I love this quest, so then they scale up. It felt a bit too basic for me. We all done it. So that was a bit boring to me. So that was basically my opinion about it. I don't know if you enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I'm not max level yet. I think I'm level 14 or 15. As I said, I only have a few hours today to play it currently. But overall, I think the experience has been okay. It felt a lot like when Vanilla Classic came out in 2019, and that was a good experience, sort of. A little bit better than back then. But again, I can't wait to see what's up with all these changes. How many changes are going to push in the future in the next patch. Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see. So I hope you are enjoying it. I can't wait to see you guys in game. See you.